Hey, what the frick is up, dude? So if you've watched videos from my channel before, then you would know that I play a lot of Black Ops 2. But I've also uploaded a lot of Black Ops 2 videos in a row, so I wanted to go ahead and branch out and play some other games, and specifically some newer ones. Now, looking at this challenge itself, I did do some research. There are some glitches on this map that allow you to sort of like circumvent the no opening the first door thing, and you can just jump into the map and then go make progress and come back to the first room with like the power turned on and pack-a-punch and all your perks. And I'm gonna let you know right now, I'm not doing any glitches. When I think of a first room challenge, I think of a first room challenge. So I'm just going to be staying in the starting room, and that is it. When it comes to other rules, I'll go ahead and leave those in the description, so if you want to see exactly how I'm playing this, go ahead and check there, because I'm not going to spend time explaining it. Now, going ahead and looking at the map itself, I mean, Firebase Z is just so different than any other first room that I've ever really played in. I mean, it could essentially be its own map. Looking at the corner, this is sort of like a dead end. It's got this long hallway that connects over to Quick Revive, which in and of itself is another dead end. Over on the opposite side of the map, there is another corner. This corner is much more spacious, and it's only got one zombie spawn, which allows me to actually do a little bit of training in here. Now, on the other end of that corner, there are these stairs. The stairs are like super tight, and they're essentially a death barrier mid-round. Connected to the stairs is the comm room. If you've seen my farmhouse video, then you'll know what I mean when I say this is just another farmhouse kitchen. It's essentially a hallway. There's no survivability in this room, so you're best just running through it rather than staying in it. Now, connected to the comm room is the rooftop. The rooftop is like a makeshift catwalk, but it's not like 𝚆𝙃 in any way. It's really hectic, and trying to camp here is like nearly impossible. Now, right below the rooftops is the courtyard. The courtyard is a nice big open space, and it sort of acts as like an arena to actually fight the zombies. And if you haven't noticed, the screenshots I'm using are a bit janky. That's because there's no theater mode to actually pull screenshots from, and apparently the zombies really don't like you taking screenshots. I was trying to get these captures, and they started throwing like rocks and shit at me, so I don't know. Apparently you don't take any screenshots on the zombies' turf. They do not like that. It's 90s Compton, and I guess I'm the Crips and they're the Bloods, and I'm trying to Crip walk all over them, and they're not having it, so. And then connected to the courtyard is the Pack-a-Punch room. This room is a bit more spacious than the others, but it's still too tight to do any real training in. There is an actual catwalk, like a genuine 𝚆𝙃 catwalk up above. It's not very long, but it does serve the purpose as like a momentary camping spot, which you will see a bit later on in the video. Looking at wave 10, I do decide to go ahead and grab the Magnum that's up on the wall. The longer you wait to grab the guns off the wall, the higher the rarity they become when you purchase them. Without spoiling too much, I will say that I find the Magnum is honestly not the best weapon. It reloads really slowly, and although it does more damage, there's just better ways of killing zombies, so I pretty quickly abandon it. You will also see I'm very reliant on the explosives. This is a great way of getting kills, because I believe the explosives scale with the round. All I have to really do is get zombies into a big group, and then blow them up. You have probably noticed the gun I'm using is a bit wonky. I'll go ahead and put the build up on the screen, but essentially I'm trying to maximize all of the loot I possibly can, and also try to get some armor damage in. Now, the UGR itself is like this weird underwater dart weapon, but it has this upgrade on it that allows you to shoot explosive darts. They are quite literally just really small explosives. When you shoot a zombie with it, if it doesn't kill the zombie, then the zombie will fall down and become phased for like 2 or 3 seconds, which actually is really beneficial. Looking at the UGR itself, it does 200 damage to the head, does about 40 damage to the body, and it does 5 splash damage in its little explosive radius. The damage profile was probably the hardest thing to get used to in this game. I'm used to games like Black Ops 1 or Black Ops 2, where unpack-a-punched weapons can have up to 1,000 damage, and the UGR is just not that. It essentially does the same damage that you would expect a gun to do in multiplayer, except it's in a game mode like zombies, where the zombies have more than the multiplayer health by wave 2. By wave 15, my gun is doing essentially no damage to the zombies. Every time I shoot them, it's like I'm having a tickle fight, so I've abandoned using my gun for actually getting any kills. The only time my gun actually serves any purpose is when there's an insta-kill, or when there's a couple zombies left and I'm trying to milk them for maybe a couple more like packages of scrap or salvage or whatever you call the loot that they drop. Wave 15 is also where I get the first Mauler. At this point, I didn't actually have any plan for the boss zombies. I had sort of forgotten that they even existed, so when they popped up, I wasn't quite sure how to deal with them. So I just kind of ignored the first Mauler, which is probably not a good idea. I mean, because I don't have any jug, the Mauler takes about half of my health away, which depending on the round can make me a one-shot. But the boss zombies really don't help me in any way. Normally by this point you have a nice pack-a-punch weapon, so when they give you some ammo it really helps keep you going, but in this case max ammo just doesn't do anything for me. When it came to drops that I found important, honestly there's really not that many. The entire game is bottlenecked by the fact that I need to collect like scrap and salvage from looting the zombies. Insta-kill I'm going to go ahead and put in A tier, which I wouldn't normally do. But the thing is that with the UGR's little bit of explosive spread, it essentially turns it into like an automatic ray gun. Plus, because of the attachments I've put on the UGR, I am picking up things like more loot, and I'm actually getting points for shooting my gun. Another thing they changed in Cold War is that you don't get points for shooting zombies, rather you get points for killing zombies. So insta-kill definitely comes in clutch here. In the B tier, I'm going to go ahead and place Carpenter. Normally I don't care for Carpenter, but on a map like this where there's a couple different windows and I'm in such a big open arena style area, Carpenter can actually really come in handy. Not every window can be boarded up in the starting room, which can be a great benefit with Carpenter. The issue with some maps like Nocturne Toten is when you get a Carpenter, it's effectively a nuke because it'll reset all the spawns and then it'll make it so you're hoarded from every direction from every window. Rather, on Firebase, the Carpenter will stagnate the zombies by making it so only a couple windows are actually leaking. Now, besides insta-kill and Carpenter, honestly nothing else is really that useful. In the D tier, I'll go ahead and place the nuke. Now, if you've watched any of my other videos, you would know that my opinion on the nuke is very 50-50. It can be great because it kills the zombies, which will make the round go by faster and can even end the round, but also the nuke resets all the spawns and makes all the zombies jump out of every window all at once. Oftentimes you'll see that a nuke, especially in like a co-op game, can actually get people down. Now under the nuke, I'll go ahead and put the bonus points. Normally the bonus points can be helpful. They can help you go unlock more of the map, maybe jump into your next pack-a-punch level a little bit sooner. The issue though is in the first room there's nothing to spend my money on. Sure, I can go buy ammo from the ammo box, but I think that only costs me like 250 points, so it's not like I really need any bonus points. And then almost for that same reason, I'm going to go ahead and put the double points down as well. Now, in my opinion, the double points is almost in the F tier because it almost does nothing, and it's kind of like a slap to the face. Double points is the game's way of telling me, hey, you'd get extra points if you were actually able to kill any zombies, but you're not able to kill any zombies. So there is plenty of times where I picked up a double points and actually didn't make any points in the 30 seconds it gives me. Also, not to mention the fact that double points clutters up my HUD, so I don't even know how beneficial it is because now I've got more shit on my screen and I'm not actually making any more points. Now looking at wave 20, I've sort of learned that I can go over to the crafting table and prepare for the rounds. You will notice that I buy myself some syringes so I can get high while I run around, so those really come in handy. I do end up fighting another couple of bosses, and you will notice once again I have not prepared for the bosses in any way. I end up using a Molotov on the Mauler just because he's very clearly the worst of the bosses. And anytime I use an explosive on a boss, that ends up being one less horde of zombies that I'm able to kill, and sometimes it doesn't even kill the boss. You'll also see that I start utilizing the roof a lot, and I even jump over to the ledge for a split second. That ledge can actually be really beneficial because it'll sort of get all the nearby zombies to jump into like this strange animation where they jump on the ledge despite there not being anywhere to go. So that allows me to get some extra shots on any zombies that are chasing me. But it's also a bit of a gamble when I do that, because if the zombies jump over faster than I anticipate, they'll end up blocking me in. You'll also see I'm utilizing the Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire is my favorite when it comes to all the different like activated superpower abilities, but I'm used to using the Ring of Fire alongside a very strong weapon, and the issue with the gun I'm using is that the splash damage also hurts me. So although I'm able to deal more damage to the zombies, I'm really not dealing all that much. Like, I'm still not really killing any zombies, and if anything, me standing in one place only hurts me. But at this point I haven't realized that. Now, as I said towards the beginning of this video, I do end up changing some tactic, and that's because of this wave 25. So the thing with Cold War is that you have infinite quick revives to use, but the only way to actually utilize them is if you get a zombie kill. Now, there is technically another sort of self-revive, and that is quite literally the self-revive like medic package you can buy from the table, although that's really expensive. I think it costs something like 400 of the more rare of the two different kinds of scraps. You'll also notice that I've started preparing for the bosses. I'm using the flamethrower, which is great because it kills the bosses pretty quickly, and it also gets a lot of kills on the zombies as well. But the same issue arises with the self-revive, and that is that the flamethrower is really expensive. So if I were to buy a new flamethrower every round or two, I would end up being in the hole, and because my gun's not getting any kills, all those attachments that cause the zombies to drop more scrap are not actually being utilized because I'm not getting any kills. There's also a lot of item juggling. Whenever there's anything good on the ground, then I'm trying to do everything I can to spend what explosives I can find before I spend the good ones like the Molotov, which gets me killed. Combine the Molotov with getting hit by a single zombie or getting hit across the map from like a mauler, and I'm down for the count. One of my least favorite things in Call of Duty is that when you go down on a ledge, you can't actually jump off the ledge. You have to sort of work yourself down there. So I try to do that, and I crawl my way over to the mauler to pick myself up, and it just doesn't happen. I simply don't have enough time. One of my goals with this challenge was to get to wave 30, and that didn't happen, so I decided I would try switching things up. I'm a really big fan of the M14, and I hadn't really used the M14 in this zombies before, so I figured I would go ahead and try that. Maybe get some more headshot damage, that way my gun would actually stay relevant for longer. I also decided to try a new upgrade. There's sort of like this weird toxic bush upgrade that you can buy, and I've seen it used online before. I know it can slow the zombies down, I think it can get some kills, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna try this new upgrade out, and I will also try out the M14, and that kind of has some mixed results. I've decided that I'm going to try camping on the catwalk, going for headshots, and testing out that toxic growth, and everything goes fairly well. It's clearly not like something that I could keep going with up until the later rounds, but it was a way for me to kick back, relax, and have a more casual time while I was waiting for those high rounds to come in. And jumping ahead over to wave 16, this is where I take my next L. Now, there were some things that I did improve in this run. First things first, I'm utilizing the hand cannon, which seems to be able to one-shot the bosses, or at least two-shot them, up until like the medium rounds. This only cost me 50 of the scrap, whereas like the flamethrower and the self-revive cost over 100. I'm also using the toxic growth a lot more in the pathway of zombies, and you see that here in the comm room. But as I said in the breakdown, the comm room is like the one place you should never spend your time at. Same exact problem in the same exact place. I'm just a huge idiot and I didn't look behind me, so I was pretty cooked here. I decided just to quit because there was no way I was going to actually get down and crawl my way over. Here we are back using the AGR, but now I'm using a mix of all the things I learned from that failed M14 experiment. So I'm back to using those explosive rounds, but I'm also utilizing the toxic growth, and I'm also using the hand cannon. As you see, by wave 20, I am fully set up. I'm also much better at grouping the zombies up, knocking them down, and making sure they stay in place while things like the Molotov or a Semtex or a C4 take effect. Now looking at wave 27 real quick, this actually took me a really long time to get to, surprisingly. So I take a quick break and I come back and I lagged out. I really was not happy with just a wave 27, so I decided I would go ahead and give this another attempt. So a couple days later, here I am, we're back on wave 26 and we're on the grind. By this point, I found even better placement for my bushes. I've sort of learned where the zombies jump up on that catwalk roof area, so I'm able to put a bush down where they jump up, which greatly reduces the chance of zombies ambushing me when I run out of the comm room. And here we are, the final round. This is wave 29. I wasn't interested in going any farther than wave 30. Cold War is kinda cool. It's a different experience, you know, it's its own thing compared to the other zombie games I've played, but it's nowhere near my favorite experience, and overall, Cold War is just not a game that I'm super passionate about. When it comes to like going far in Cold War, I just have no intention of it. Around wave 30 is also when the Hellhounds start spawning. This can make it extra tricky just because you are constantly getting barraged by what is essentially like the suicide bombers from MW3 Survival, except they don't give you the luxury of waiting before they explode. I can understand why they felt the need to add things like exploding zombies into the game to sort of up the challenge, but I don't know if I'm actually a really big fan of this. I find that making the game really easy and then deciding to add tedious things like exploding Hellhounds is not really the best way of going about rebalancing the game. But I'm not a game developer, so fuck me, right? You'll also see here at the end of wave 29, I've sort of picked up on a new thing. What you can do is you can pick up a C4, you can plant the C4, and then you can pick up a new explosive, but you still have the detonator for that C4. Now, as I said, I only wanted to go to wave 30, so I decided to turn on the chaos mode, whatever you want to call it. I went into the comm room, turned that on. Also keep in mind that I've done this challenge like 4 times now, so I was really tired of running around in circles and shooting zombies with a gun that essentially doesn't do any damage, so I was pretty over it. When it comes to placing this challenge, it's honestly really hard to say. For something like a first room challenge, having the freedom to choose what guns and effects you spawn in with are really beneficial. And adding to that, when it comes to any first room challenge, Firebase Z is definitely like in my top 5 picks for what I would call a very in-depth first room. I guess at the end of the day, my issue is that the challenge is really restrictive, just like any other first room challenge. And also you miss out on the flow that is the Firebase Z's first room once you've actually turned on the power. This definitely places higher than any first room challenge I would do on just about any other Call of Duty game. But that being said, it's not like my favorite thing ever. The Candy Shop Survival was sort of the same when it came to like the layout and how you go about playing it, but there's much more freedom to grab the loadout that you want and also explore the map between rounds. But with that out of the way, that's really all I have to say about this video. It was fun. It was interesting. I don't know when the next time I'll make a Cold War video is, but hey, it's something new, something different, and with that, it's been cool.